Please, no.
Okay, ચિંતાબેન પ્રકાશબેન.
થયું આદેશ આપજો.
પ્રકાશબેન.
ઈચ્છામી ખમા સમનું વંદિયું જવનિજા નિસિહ્યા મથે વંદામી. ઈચ્છા કારણ સંધિસ્ય ભગવાન ઇર્યાવયમ પડિકમામી. ઈચ્છામી પડિકમ્યું. ઇર્યાવયાય વિરાણાય ગમણા ગમને પાણ કમને દિયો કમને હરિય કમને ઓસાવતી અપણ ગદગ મટી મગડા સંતાણા સંકમણી જેમી જીવાભિરાયા. એગેન્દિયા બેઇન્દિયા તૈન્દિયા ચોરેન્દિયા પંચેન્દિયા બિહયા બત્તિયા લેસિયા સંગાયા સંગઠિયા પરિયાવિયા કિલામિયા. ઉદવ્યા ઠાણમ સંકામિયા જીવ્યાઓ ગૌરવ્યા તસ્મિચ્છામિ દુક્કડમ તસૌત્રી કર્ણેણમ પાયચિત કર્ણેણમ વિસોહી કર્ણેણમ વિસલી કર્ણેણમ પાવાણમ કમાણમ નિગાયણ ઠાયઠામિ કૌસરમ અનત્થ ઉસસ્યેણમ નિસસ્યેણમ ખાસ્યેણમ છેણમ જંવાયણમ ઉદવેણમ વાયની સગણમ બમનીય પિતમુછાય. સુહુમેમ અંગ સંચાલેહિમ સુહુમેમ ખેલ સંચાલેહિમ સુહુમેમ દીઠી સંચાલેહિમ એવમાઈ એહિમ આગારેહિમ અપગો વિરાયો ઉજ્જમે કૌસગો યાવર્યંતાણમ ભગવંતાણમ નમો કારણમ ન પારેમી તા કાયમ ઠાણેણમ મોણેણમ જાણેણમ. એક લોગસનો કૌશક ન આવડે તો 4 નૌકાર અપ્પાણમ ઓસીરામી. लोगो सौजोगरे धम्म तिथिरे जने अरियन्ते कीते सम 24 संपि केवली उसभमजियम च वन्दे संभवम अभिनन्दनं च सुमयं च पौमपं सुपासं जिनं च चन्दपहं वन्दे सोहिं च पुष्पदन्तं स्यल सीजन सवासु पूजन च विमलमनन्तं तजनं दमं सन्तिं च वन्दामि कुन्तुमरं च मलि वन्दे मुनि स्वयं च नमि जिनं च वन्दामि रिट्ठनेमि पासं तः वद्धमानं च एवमे अभिथुवा विहुय रमेला पैण जर्मणा 24 संपि जिनवरा तिथय रामे पश्यन्तु कीर्तिय वंदीय मैया जे लोग सतमा सिदा आरुग बोइलापम समाहिवरमूतम मम देन्तु चंदेसु निमलयरा ऐचेसु अहं पयासयरा सागरवर गंभीरा सिद्धा सिद्धि मम दिसन्तु नौकार. नमो अरिहंताणं नमो सिद्धाणं नमो आयरियाणं नमो वज्राणं नमो लोये सबसावणं एसो पंच नमुकारो सव पावपणासुनो મંગળાનંચ સવેસિમ પડમં હવૈ મંગલમ. આપણે યા સામાયિકની શરૂઆત થઈ હવે.
ઘણો ઘણો આભાર ચેતનાબેન.
યા થેન્ક યુ પ્રદીપભાઈ.
અને અંતમંગળ પછી 3 નવકાર ભણી લેવા.
હા.
થઈ ગયો. જો તો ઓન છે ને, ઓન જ છે બધા. Yeah. Ready?
હાજી.
નમો હરિહંતાણમ નમો સિદ્ધાણમ નમો આયર્યાણમ નમો વજાયાણમ નમો લોએ સવ્વસાહૂણમ એસો પંચનમુકારો સવ્વપાવપણાસણો મંગલાણમ ચ સવ્વેસિમ પરમં હવૈ મંગલમ. અજ્ઞાનતિમિરાંધાનાં જ્ઞાનાંજનશલાકયા ચક્ષુરુન્મીલિतं येन તસ્मै શ્રીગુરવે નમઃ. જય જિનેન્દ્ર. આજે આપણે શિબિરનો છેલ્લો સેશન, 5મી ગાથા સૂત્ર પૂરું કરીને 6ઠ્ઠા સૂત્રમાં છીએ આપણે. This one is a spiritual practice of Gupti. In fact, Gupti is the real spiritual practice. The real spirituality you're submerged in your own self. The way in which you go out in the external objects, people, situation is through your either mind or speech or body. Now you make this thing, instead of going out, inward. Go within you. You have 3 tools for that. Your body, your speech, and your mind. But the important thing is, you can't take your body within you. So what you do is make your body still, completely immovable. So sthirata. Then you are silent, moan with your speech. But what about the mind? Mind is the one which goes everywhere, all over the world, universe. So for that, we have seen how we can do that. So you be aware of where the mind is going. And mind goes out with the thoughts. Mind's only activity is thoughts. So be aware of your thought. Be watchful of your thought. Watch your thoughts. Now, it's difficult to watch your thought. So what you do is, whatever the attachments feeling or feeling of attachment or feeling of aversion occurs on a thought, you watch them. And whatever ego plays part on your thought or in your thought or when you are thinking, watch them. By watching anything, you separate. So if you are only the watcher, remember the sutra, watcher on the hill. If you are only the watcher, whatever you are watching, whatever come across you is separate. It's not you. It's not yours. Nothing is yours in this world. Everything belongs to that particular thing. Nothing belongs to you. Even your thoughts don't belong to you. So establish that platform, that foundation, that nothing belongs to me. Nothing is mine except me. I cannot control anything. Do not even try to control anything other than your own self. And that is the essence of Gupti. And that's the essence of meditation or dhyan. The spiritual practice of Gupti describes here. Kaiosarg and dhyan are spiritual practices pertaining to the three Guptis, Manogupti, Vachan Gupti, and Kaya Gupti. Each of these Guptis has two types, Shubha and Shuddha. Now we are trying to thrive and get to the Shuddha, which is pure, totally pure. Engagement of the mind, the speech, and the body in any pious means leading to self-realization is Shubhagupti. The short definition is this. There are four totally and ultimately pure things in the world. One is Paramatma, two is Guru, three is Shastra, and fourth is our own Shuddha, pure existed pure soul, pure self. Those are the four Shuddha, completely pure. And when you do anything in keeping those four things, from all four, when you are doing any activity according to what the Shastra has prescribed, Guru has prescribed, or Bhagavan has prescribed, that for you becomes Shubha. And when you have anything that you do which is according to your own self, it becomes Shuddha, pure. Because your pure existence is as Shuddha, as pure as Tirthankar Paramatma, Sadguru, and Shastra. So these are the Shubha and Shuddha. Means so engagement of the mind, the speech, and the body in any pious means. The pious means that prescribed by Tirthankar and given to us by Guru and described in the Shastra. Means leading to self-realization is Shubhgupti, an extreme stillness, one-pointedness of the mind, the speech and the body is, because it is only depending on you, your own self, is called Shuddha Gupti, pure, totally pure. Because you are essentially totally pure existence. The blissful experience during moments of Shuddha Gupti has been described by Devchandraji in the scriptures Ashtapravachan Mata Nisajjaya. There is a pertinent line in the verse about Vachan Gupti which says, Bhasa Pudgal Vargana Grahana Nisarga Upadi Saluna Karva Atma Viryane Sane Prere Sad. Why would a monk even speak if it is not necessary? Same way, we do not want to speak if it is not necessary. We do not want to go anywhere if it is not absolutely necessary. And we do not want to think about anything else if it is not necessary. For the monk, there are only four things that he is allowed to go out: ahar, vihar, nihar, and devdarshan. That means for food, for going from one place to another place in vihar, then going for the daily activity of like nihar and devdarshan, temple. Other than that, he's not even allowed to go out from where he is. So that way the activities are cut down to the minimum. And that's what a sadhak, a seeker, should do. Cut down your activities. If it is not necessary, don't go out. If it's not necessary, don't speak. If it's not necessary, don't think. That way you conserve your energy. When you conserve your energy, you can employ that energy into meditation. Because you need energy. And that energy is limited to you because of the karma, which is called antaraya karma, viryantaraya karma. You don't have unlimited energy like Bhagavan has. You have limited. So use that energy for your own self realization, not for anything else. Only if it is necessary to maintain your life, then only you use that. That's called Gupti. What actually transpires during the process of speaking? Speech enabling physical particles, bhasa vargana, that becomes the karma, are taken in, processed, and released in the form of words uttered. However, this necessitates usage of the inner strength of the soul. You have limited energy, limited strength. So don't waste it, in fact. Devchandraji therefore asks a question of deep substance. How can a seeker squander away the soul's inner strength for the intake and release of physical matter? How can we even squander away our limited energy? The seeker means sadhak, would rather go deep in silence, and if at all talking is needed or necessary, it will be in accordance with the Tirthankar's commandments. Prabhu Agnya, which will be the state of Shubha Vachana Gupti. It says here, Parasahaya guna vartanare vastu dharma na kahai sadhya rasi te kim grahere sadhu chitta sahai. Stunning words. A beautiful spiritual practice opening up in this Gujarati verse. The discussion here revolves around the central idea of being able to experience a small version of Analamban Dhyan. When a seeker takes assistance of the captivating form or the divine words of the Tirthankar to experience the self or its attributes, it is called Alamban Dhyan. You are depending on something in order to go into meditation. But when it is analamban, which means you don't go for anything external for your support, you only are supported by your own strength and your own purity. That's called analamban dhyan. But when one practices alamban dhyan so deeply that it seeps into every fiber of one's being, to that extent we have to do in order to get to the stage where you don't need any external alamban or support. One enters the realm of effortless meditation. So if you make your life effortless and choiceless, it's very easy for you to go into this kind of effortless meditation. We have been talking about that yesterday. Our lives should be effortless, सहज, and choiceless. कोई पसंदगी नहीं. Whatever comes, you accept. Total acceptance of anything and everything. The basic premise of this verse is that a seeker does not need any externals, such as words or contemplation, in order to experience the attributes of the self. Atma doesn't need anything from outside. It's self-sufficient. It has got everything that one needs. Sadhya rasi te kim grahere sadhu chitta sahai. One does not need the help of a guide to reach one's own home. Your own self is your own home. You don't need a guide for that. You know your way. All you have to do is to go there, walk the path, come back to your own home. Similarly, why would one need the support of thoughts or the mind to reach the self, one's own home? That yourself is your own home. A seeker's inner journey starts by going beyond thoughts and attaining concentration. This spiritual practice of going beyond thoughts and beyond the mind is called Unmanikarana. Reversing the process. Right now, the thoughts are going out. Now, the thoughts are coming back and going into ourselves and stay there forever. A reference from the scripture Yoga Shastra. Unmanikarana tadayad mancha shamarase laya. When thoughts cease, when thoughts cease, equanimity is experienced from the depths of existence. That's where you are. You are at the existence level. Because the mind was engulfed in thoughts, it got trapped in attachments and aversions due to a wrong belief of ego. Beyond thoughts laced with attachments and aversions exists bliss and only bliss. We all seek for bliss and we never get it because of the fact that we are going the wrong way. So come to the right way, right path prescribed by the Tirthankar. In the context of Shuddha Mano Gupti, the reader will appreciate these words of Acharya Hemchandra Suriji found in the 12th chapter of the scripture Yoga Shastra. A seeker who is deeply drenched in Udasin Bhav and who is far removed from any activity not related to the self is immersed in such bliss that he does not attach his mind anywhere else. Or if you want to put it this way, if you do not attach your mind to anything, you can achieve this Shuddha Manodasha, Shuddha Dasha, pure existence, pure self. When one experiences totality within, why would the mind need to go in the external? You have everything. You're all self-contained, completely. Why would you want to go outside for getting anything? You are in a bunker, equipped with everything. And there is a dangerous war going on outside. But you don't need to go outside because you're all completely self-sufficient inside the bunker of your own self. You are self-sufficient. You don't need to go out. Now he has given this example of somebody who's going in the um, another town or something, and then he's he's in a hotel or a lodge or whatever, and he has a room which is completely self-contained. So when he goes inside the room at night until morning, he's not going to come out of that room because that room is completely self-sufficient, self-contained. Same way, when you feel that you're completely self-contained, self-sufficient, why would you want to go out? What's the purpose? What's the reason? Don't have any reason at all. In the same way, the realization of one's own totality and self-sufficiency will not let the mind drift into the external. Because one is beyond the mind and thoughts in the moments of Shuddha Manogupti, it enables the seeker to experience his own inner grandeur. The reason why we do not experience that is because we wander outside of ourselves. And we have been wandering ever since time immemorial. And we will keep wandering unless and until we settle ourselves in our own self, which is completely self-sufficient, self-content. So be content of whatever you have, and you don't need to go out. Mahapati Ashoji in the song Savasogata Nustavan describes it as Ekata Gnana Nischay Daya Suguru Tehane Bhake जे अविकल्प उपयोगमा निज प्राण ने राखे. From the perspective of Nishchayana, experience of the self is true non-violence. Ahimsa, because the true nature of the self is violated when one is not established in the self. When you go out of your own self, that is hinsa, that is violence. And the path to this experience is an intensive and a steadfast practice of going beyond the mind and the thoughts. Why such an emphasis on going beyond thoughts? This is because thoughts ignite the impurities of attachments, aversions, and ego. Remember that. When the embers of these impurities arise, two approaches are possible. They can be extinguished by dousing them with the ashes of awareness, or they can be turned into blazing flames by fanning them with the winds of thoughts. Choice is yours. Assume for a moment that you are sitting in a room. Someone you despise enters the room. Within moments, embers of hatred will ignite within you. Now, if you become aware during these moments, the awareness that, oh, He is a future Siddha. He will douse the embers of hatred. Any person that you come across, anybody, doesn't matter who, think about that person as a future Siddha Paramatma, and you will bow down to him. Namo Siddhanam. I bow down to the Siddha that reside in you. But what if thoughts of hatred arise instead? Oh, this person, he is the one who destroyed me. He has left no stone unturned in maligning me everywhere. Such thoughts will convert the embers of hatred into a blazing flame. And this happens all the time. So do it this way. Everyone that you come across, you meet, Namo Siddhanam. Shuddha Manogupti takes one beyond thoughts laced with attachments and aversions. Concentration achieved in any of the pious means during Shubha Manogupti also achieves the same thing. So Shubha and Shuddha both are beneficial for a seeker or a sadhak. Shuddha Kaya Gupti is to remain still in a standing or sitting posture, usually in Jin Mudra or other yogic posture. The Kayos are done during rituals these days includes the following combinations of the Shuddha and the Shubha forms of Guptis. Kaya Gupti is of the Shuddha type, while Vachan Gupti and Manogupti are both of the Shubha type. During such Kayosar, one mentally chants Logasa Sutra or Namaskar Mahamantra, and therefore Vachan Gupti is of the Shubha type because you're depending on Bhagavan's Vachan. Because the mind focuses on those chants, Manogupti is also of the Shubh type, such as Kayasar is called Cheshta Kayasar. There are types of Kayasar. Another type of Kayasar called Abhibhav Kayasar has been referred to in the scripture Kayasar Niryukti. This Kayasar can have all three Guptis of the Shuddha type. It does not involve mental chants of any sutra. In this Kayasar, one breaches the threshold of the mind and thoughts and experiences equanimity and bliss of the self. And experiences equanimity and bliss of the self at that time. A question might arise here. Dhyan and Kayasar are both spiritual practices pertaining to the three Guptis. So, what is the difference between the two? As we saw above, in Kayasar, the elements of Shuddha and Shubha Gupti are found in a certain combination. In Dhyan, the combination is like this. When a seeker is in Dhyan in a standing or sitting posture and does not have any bodily movement, all three Guptis will be of the Shuddha type. The seeker will go beyond thoughts and mind and will experience equanimity and other attributes of the self. And that is what Bhagavan did. We always say that Bhagavan was in Dhyan Kayuksar. Dhyan and Kayuksar. Bhagavan did for 12 and a half years. The combination of Dhyan can also be slightly different. Kaya Gupti of the Shubha type and the other two Guptis of the Shuddha type. That also is possible. In the critic to the sacred text Sri Acharang Sutra, Srilankacharya ji refers to the walking of Bhagavan Mahavir as Dhyan. See what I mean? Even walking, if you walk with Iriya Samiti, that also can become Dhyan. So any activity as prescribed and as prescribed by Tirthankar can result into Gupti or Dhyan or meditation. For the act of walking was done in accordance with Iriya Samiti. When a seeker walks in accordance with Iriya Samiti, Kaya Gupti is of the Shubh type, but because he is only watching the path and there are neither any thoughts nor any kind of swadhyaya going on in the mind, Vachan Gupti and Mano Gupti are of the Shuddha type. How amazing is this spiritual practice of the three Guptis. And you can do it. We can all do it. We all can do it. Now we are reaching the Sutra 7. Now we are going to have types of dhyan. Adhyatma Bhavani Chidanand Maharaj says in here. Chidanand Maharaj says, Ape Aap Vicharata Manapame Visaram रसास्वाद सुख उपजे अनुभवता को नाम आत्म अनुभव तीर से मिटे मोह अंधार आप रूप में जड़ हड़े नहीं तस अंत ओपार विकल्पों ने पेले पार जई. So and then there is another one from स्नानम मनोमल त्यागो दानम चा भय दक्षिणा ज्ञानम तत्वार्थ संबोधो ध्यानम निर्विषयम मनः. It says here, a seeker who has risen above thoughts. Which thoughts? The thoughts which are laced with aversion and attachment and ego. And who contemplates on the self with profound concentration is able to taste the incredible nectar. This nectar is the experience of the self, anubhav, atma anubhav, self-realization. When one is on the cusp of experiencing the self, the darkness of delusion dispels, and this experience continues to live on. Then you just continue with that. And then it says here, true cleansing is the elimination of dirt in our minds. This has been emphasized over and over and over again. Our Jain darshan, dhyan or meditation requires, proceeds with, impurities must be out of our mind and our existence. If you have impure thought, impure words, or impure activity, there is no way in the world you will achieve meditation results or dhyan. This is the fundamental difference between the Jain meditation and the other meditations which are going on in the world. Remember that. Nirmal mana. Nirmal means pure. Pure. Any impurities in you is not going to help you with meditation. So make sure the impurities of kasai, anger, greed, ego, all these impurities and 5 senses going in the wrong direction. These are all impurities. Vishaya and Akashaya. You have to control, you have to be watchful, you have to be aware. I cannot achieve self-realization if I engage in all those 4 kashaya or 5 senses. Remember that. True charity is the giving of fearlessness to all living beings. Abhaidan. Not a single soul, single insect even, smallest insect, get harmed by me. That's called Jaina. That's called carefulness. That's called awareness. That's why we have ahimsa paramo dharma. Non-violence is the supreme religion. You cannot achieve any spiritual heights without the basic foundation of non-violence. True knowledge is the knowledge of the tattva, the fundamental reality. You have to understand that. So that's why now tattva or 9 reals are the basis of Jain philosophy. You have to learn all these 9 reals. We have done a lot of shivers on 9 realms, now tattva. So many classes that we have had. Even the Tattvarth Satra is based on Nav Tattva. Because that's the fundamentals. And true dhyan is when the mind is free of all sensual attachment. That is the 5 senses. So 4 kashai and 5 senses, if you control them, you have every opportunity and every chance of getting a true meditation. Now there are types of dhyan described in chapter number 7. In the devotional ode to Tirthankar Subahu Swami, currently in Mahavida Kshetra, Devchandraji has described the steps of dhyan in a devotional tone. Now it says here, यद्यपि हूँ मोहादि के छलियो पर परिणति सु बड़ियो रे હવે તુજ સમ મુજ સાહિબ મળ્યો, તેણે સભી ભવ ભય ટળ્યો રે. દેવચંદ્ર Maharaj સાહેબ, says, O Tirthankar, I have strayed away from my true self by engaging in the external. Now there is a exception here for using the externals. While it may be necessary to use externals, they must be used dispassionately, without engaging the consciousness in them. Don't involve your consciousness. Consciousness must be engaged only in the self or in the means leading to the self, and not in the things, not in the things that you are using. You may need to use them, but you cannot be using it consciously. Only consciously means that you don't harm anybody. That's how you use it. Other than that, you don't. He says here, I have strayed away from my true self by engaging in the external and have succumbed to the impurities of attachments and aversions due to delusion caused by my own karma. But I have faith that I will be free from their vicious grip henceforth. But now onwards, since I am now following your agna, your command, I will be free of those. Because I have a Lord like you. Prabhu, tu mane madyo. I got you now. So I will be saved. Walking on the path that you have established, I will be able to overpower these defilements. You must have this faith. That is very important and that is foremost. Without faith, you are not going to be able to achieve it. But what is the procedure? Then it says here, ध्येय स्वभावे प्रभु अवधारी दुर्ध्याता परिणति वारी रे भासन वीर एकताकारी ध्यान सहज संभारी रे. Now there are 4 steps here. Four steps have been laid out here. Resolve to make the Lord as the only goal. That means your commitment. Number 1. Stop Artha Dhyan and Raudra Dhyan. Those are the 2 bad dhyans, bad thing which takes you away from yourself. Third, engage the consciousness only in the means leading to the self. And fourth one, effortlessly flow in the stream of dhyan. Dhyan should be effortless. If you have to make effort, it's not dhyan. That's why we established in the beginning that dhyan should be preceded by effortlessness and choicelessness. Those both things, effort and choice, disturbs you. Those two things disturb you. And those two things will never help you achieve meditation that you are seeking. Step 1. The ultimate goal is the Lord, Prabhu, Tirthankar, lying dormant within. I have the same attributes. Decide that. Form that. Confirm that. Have faith in that. That lying dormant in me, within me, I have the same attributes as those of the Aryant and Siddha, but those attributes are masked by karma, and I want to uncover them. I will be able to make progress on this path by ceaselessly keeping the Lord in sight. Never forget the Prabhu. Never forget the Lord. Never forget the Tirthankar Paramatma. Never forget the Paramatma. Number 2, stopping the mind from engaging in Artha Dhyan, Raudra Dhyan, being separated from people or things that one is attached to, or being associated with people or things one is averse to, brings about mental anguish, which attracts new karma. Engaging in such thoughts of sorrow is Artha Dhyan. You need to avoid that. And it should be stopped by immersing oneself in pious activities such as Swadhyaya, etc. Engaging in thoughts of intense cruelty, which in turn lead to a cycle of even worse thoughts and actions, such as violence, etc., is Raudra Dhyan, and it should also be put an end to. The third step, engaging the consciousness only in the means leading to the self. Knowledge is worthwhile only when it takes one closer to the knower, the self. Otherwise, those knowledge, what you call knowledge, is just mere information. It's not knowledge. Knowledge is called only knowledge which takes you to your own self. When it leads to an experience of the knower. These three steps will automatically lead the seeker to the fourth step, and that is flowing effortlessly in the stream of dhyan. When you become choiceless, you become effortless. And when you become effortless, for you meditation is easy. How can there be scope for any effort or any extrinsic attempt in the journey of dhyan when dhyan itself is a journey along the shores of effortlessness? So now you can imagine what I was referring to in the beginning, that you need to be effortless and choiceless. When you are going for choice, which means I like this, I don't like this. I like this, I don't like this. I want this, I don't want this. That is the dilemma which is going to cause you anguish. And when you have anguish, you cannot achieve meditation or dhyan. It is our original core nature to be effortless and choiceless. It certainly is possible that dhyan happens effortlessly. Dhyan has to happen, then you cannot do it. It's not something you do, it has to happen. It is a state of natural existence. Ironically, effort may be required to engage in external activities not related to the self. Any activity that you externally, you have to engage yourself. Otherwise, it will not happen. So don't engage in the externals, and then you can very effortlessly go into your self. And that's called Jnana. The following verse talks about the outcome of when the stream of Dhyan flows deeper. ध्याता ध्येय समाधि अभेदे परपरिणति विच्छेदे ध्याता साधक भाव उच्छेदे ध्येय सिद्धांत सिद्धता vedere. It results in the union of dhyata, which is we, dhyan, which is what we are doing, and dhye, the ultimate goal. That is samadhi, which destroys the tendency to engage in the external. Now, there is no external for you. Everything is internalized now. This is because during these moments of oneness, the consciousness of the dhyata is sadhak, me, who I am, I is dhyata, becomes one with the attributes of the dhye, which is Paramatma. Dhye is Paramatma, dhyata is me. Now I become one with Paramatma because Paramatma's attributes and my attributes are the same. When the consciousness of the dhyata dissolves into the dhye and becomes one with it, how can impurities of attachment, aversion, or ego remain? So in other words, if you shed all your aversions and attributes and ego, you become one with Paramatma and you become Paramatma. The journey of the dhyata towards the dhye is called dharma, dhyana, and shukla, dhyana. That's the journey within. The Paramatma Tattva is within you. And you are going to achieve that by going in with the vehicle of Dhyan. Dhyan becomes the means for a dhyata, which is me, I, to achieve Paramatma, which is inside me, the self. But first we have to have support of the Paramatma. Take the support of the Paramatma to become Paramatma. So then Atma becomes Paramatma. I become Paramatma. Self become Paramatma. That's called self-realization at the highest degree. We have briefly discussed Artha Dhyan and Raudra Dhyan earlier. When a seeker becomes free from both these types of Dhyan, he marches ahead towards Dharma Dhyan and Shukla Dhyan. Now comes the Dharma Dhyan. There are 4 types of Dharma Dhyan. Agnya Vichay, Apay Vichay, Vipak Vichay, and Sansthan Vichay. Vichay means vichar, thought. First type, Agnya Vichay, contemplation on the Tirthankars' commandments, diminishing our attachments, aversions, and ego is the essence of Tirthankars' commandments. A seeker should always introspect whether his spiritual practices have led to a reduction in his attachments, aversions, and ego. This is the thermometer, this is the barometer of our progress. how much ego, how much attachment, the sense of attachment and sense of aversions have diminished. First it starts diminishing and then finally it goes away. That's our achievement. Second time, second type rather, apaya vichaya. Apaya means pain. Contemplation, vichar means thought. Contemplations about the kind of suffering awaiting those who are consumed by attachments or aversions and ego. Such suffering often spans several lives. The sufferings, think about them. Then it's in itself can be instrumental in taking us in within us. And third type is vipak vichaya, means the fruition. This can be divided into two parts: contemplation on the karma theory and its various aspects, such as the bondage of karma, its manifestation into results, premature manifestation, dormant karma, etc. This also we learn in Nav Tattva, 9 realms. So it's very important. Anybody who has not learned so far Nav Tattva, 9 realms, they should basically, this is the basis of our um, Paramatma, Tirthankar Paramatma's edicts or commandments. And equipped with the foundation of this contemplation to become deeply engrossed in the pursuit of the soul, which in its pure form is free from the bondage of karma. Should concentrate on that. My self, me, real self, real me, has no karma. It's without any karma. And I want to achieve that state where I have no karma, like Siddha Paramatma. And the fourth type is Sansthan Vichaya, contemplating on the form, the structure, or the shape of the universe, and looking at where am I? You know, when you go to a mall, there's a map and there's a red dot. What it says? You are here. You have to find out where you are in the whole universe. And from here, where you will go. That alone in itself can create a series of thoughts in your mind that I better wake up and follow the path of Tirthankar. If I want to get rid of the pain and suffering that I have experienced all these lives, innumerable lives, infinite number of lives. In order to do that, contemplations on the 12 bhavanas, such as impermanence, culminates into contemplation and focus on the permanent nature of the soul, which eventually leads the seeker to experience the attributes of the self. Paramatma has done the same thing. Prabhu Mahavir, what he did for 12 and a half years, 4,515 days, he was doing bhavana, dhyan, bhavana, dhyan, bhavana, dhyan. There are 12 plus 4 bhavanas or contemplations, which is very, very, very important to study them. Which eventually leads the seeker to experience the attributes of the self. Similarly, contemplation done as part of these 4 types of dhyan or should also culminate into experience of the attributes of the self. For example, in Agna Vichaya Dhyan, one can contemplate It is Tirthankar's commandment to stay away from the external and abide in the self. So I must remain in my attributes of forgiveness, etc. Kshama, Mardha, Varjo, Santosh, Satya, all these bhavnas, all these attributes of self, you have to take into your contemplation. That's what that's what who you are. While contemplating during Apai Vichay Dhyan, seeing and experiencing the suffering caused by attachments, aversion, etc., would lead a seeker to experience the attributes of forgiveness, non-attachment, non-egoism, etc. The most difficult to achieve is to letting go ego. Let go ego. If you want to achieve a self-realization, let go ego. Let ego go. Let ego go. No more ego. And you achieve self-realization. Because the attachments and the aversion feeling comes from ego. I like this. I don't like this. I want this. I don't want this. That comes from I. That false I. A false I is ego. That's why this in the beginning we said, Bhagavan says acceptance. Accept everything. Choiceless, effortless. While contemplating during Vipak Vichay Dhyan, because of the reflections of karma bondage, manifestation, etc., a seeker tunes in to his true self. I don't want to suffer anymore. I had a lot of sufferings, enough sufferings in the past. I don't want to suffer anymore. The soul was until now reeling under the influence of karma. For example, comfort was experienced when Sata Vediniya karma came into fruition and you feel at the top of the world. As soon as something happens to your body, something happens to you, a mere fever or mere headache, you go into a fit of pain and suffering. In the same way, discomfort was experienced in the case of Asata Vediniya karma. Asata Vediniya karma is the result of you being careless, not taking care of others, not caring for others. You attract Ashata Vedini karma. And when it comes to fruition, you suffer pain, you suffer discomfort. You got the point? As a result of Vipak Vichay Dhyan, the seeker's thought process changes to understand that the fruition of karma means that they are actually shedding, thereby reducing the burden on the soul. So you should be happy. If somebody insults you, how would you feel? You don't feel good, right? You should actually feel good. If somebody praises you, don't feel too good. Because when somebody insults you, your apayash nama karma, which is the bad karma, is being shared, is being now no more with you. So you are free of that karma. And in order to have that happen, that person who is insulting you is your benefactor. He has done great service to you. But you not doing anything, just accepting his insult, you shared your karma. Isn't it easy? You don't have to do any tap, no penance, no nothing. And you have shared your karma. So thank him. While contemplating during Sansthan Vichay Dhyan, because of reflection on the nature of the universe and the cycle of birth and death, therein the seeker becomes desirous of being liberated and thus takes steps in that direction. And now comes the Shukla Dhyan. Basically, Shukla Dhyan is for a very advanced seeker. The virtues of forgiveness, straightforwardness, tenderness, etc., form the basis of Shukla Dhyan. Once they have been deeply reflected upon, practiced intensely, and internalized, a seeker progresses to Shukla Dhyan. Shukla Dhyan is also possible for a householder. Generally, Shukla Dhyan is only for the monks and the advanced sadhaks, yogis, or Gunasthanak Nindar, maybe after 7th or 8th or 9th Gunasthanak. And ultimately, the Shukla Dhyan leads to Keval Gnan. But there are certain types of Shukla Dhyan which can be achieved by a householder as well. Otherwise, we will not be mentioning it in Atichar. The first type of Shukla Dhyan is Prathakva, Vitarka, Savichar. Here the seeker resorts to Shrut and focuses his meditation on either some topic from Shrut or the soul. Here, although the object of focus is singular, the focus can veer between various paryaya of that object, various form of that object. For example, when focusing on the soul, the focus could shift among various aspects of soul, such as whether it is permanent or transient or so on, and so on. Vitarka means shrut. Prathakva means the quality of being distinct. Savichar means something that is endowed with the quality of changing. During this type of meditation, the focus could turn from the meaning of a word towards the word itself, or it could shift from the word towards its meaning. This is a little bit more technical, so if you can understand it, it's okay. If you don't understand it, it's okay also. Likewise, the focus could also veer towards the steady, motionless state of the body. This shifting of focus between the substance, word.
Girishbhai, would you consider postponing this in favor of the other chapter for type of dhyans?
Yeah, we can do that.
Because this is not going to be provision both for a while.
No, that's what I say. The Shukla Dhyan is not for us. So just we can just skip it. You can read it if you want. Yeah. Now we come to Sutra number 8. Rupastha Dhyan. Now these are the dhyan, or these are the meditation styles or types that you can practice. Rupastha Dhyan, number 8 chapter. Then you have Padastha Dhyan, which is chapter number 9. Then you have Sutra number 10, which is Pindastha Dhyan. And then we have Sutra number 11, which is Rupatit Dhyan. So we'll go a little bit on this thing. And I think we have some time. Okay. Let me explain the Sutra 8. This is from Sarvodaya Gnan Chidananji Maharaj. Rahat vikar sarup nihari taki sangat manasa dhari निज गुण अंश लहे जब कोय प्रथम भेद tini avasar hoy. A seeker observes the impurities arising within. Now let me ask you something to help you understand this. When you are angry, can you look at your anger? Can you see that you are angry?
No.
So try to see that. And that will lead into dhyan, meditation. Rahat vikar, which means impurity. Whatever impurities that you have manifested, look at them. And when you look at something, it is going to be separated from you. So then what you're doing here is you are practicing being a watcher, drashta, watcher on the hill. You don't have to watch your pure self because you don't have that yet manifested. But you have this impure self which is manifesting in your anger and greed and all this, ego and all this. So you can watch that. Be a watcher. Rahat vikara swarupa nihari taki sangat manasadhari nij guna ansh lahe jab koy prathama bhed tini avasar hoy. That's the first Rupastha Dhyan. A seeker observes the impurities arising within, with the mind involved in just observing these impurities. The important thing is observing. Try to be an observer. This act of just observing is drashta bhav, which we mentioned and which we talked about earlier. Here the seeker experiences an attribute of the soul, which is to observe. You are only an observer. You are only a drashta. You are nothing but an observer. You are not a doer. This is Rupastha Dhyan. Ugyo samkit ravi jada harato bharama timira savi nathore anubhava guna avyo nij ange mityo nij rupa mathore. When the luminous sun of Samyak Darshan rises, the darkness of delusion is dispelled. The experience of the self descends upon the seeker. The false notion of I being the body, etc., is eliminated. All we are doing in this meditation practices or meditation thing is distinguish between the false I and the real I. That is the ultimate goal that we need to establish. I need to be my real self. And the false self on which I built my temple of existence must be destroyed. This is how we do it. Pindastha, Padastha, Rupastha, and Rupati Dhyan can help a seeker in the journey of Dharma Dhyana. Acharya Hemchandra Suryaji has described and expounded these types of dhyan in the scripture Yoga Shastra. It is a very stirring exposition. However, Chidananji has expounded these types of dhyan in the scripture Sarvodaya Gnan in a slightly different vein. This exposition is also very delightful. Let us take a closer look. Chidananji says, Dhyan char, dhyana भगवंत बतावे ते मेरे मन अधिक भावे रूपस्थ पदस्थ पिंडस्थ कहे जे रूपातीत साध शिव लाए लिए. The Tirthankar has propounded 4 types of dhyan, and because he has himself laid them out, I deeply admire them. So this is the faith that you should have. I have total faith in my Tirthankar. Whatever he says, I accept unequivocally, no doubt. And that is Shraddha. That is the faith that we need to achieve self-realization. By attaining Pindastha, Padastha, Rupastha, and Rupati Dhyan, a seeker is able to march ahead in the journey towards liberation. A seeker merely observes the feeling of attachments, aversion, etc., arising within. I'm sure you can do that. That is not difficult. He doesn't get engrossed in these feelings, but merely observes them. Anger comes out, you observe it. ક્રોધ આવ્યો, જોવો એને. He doesn't get engrossed in these feelings, but merely observes them. And in those moments of just observation, becomes a detached witness. That's the result. In this way, the first rays of the luminous self shine upon the seeker's dark mind. To be an observer of impurities within. Start with that. When the mind is still and neutral during the time of worship, it is possible to see the Tirthankar's pure soul and his alluring attributes. But being able to observe impurities such as anger, attachment, etc., arising within is indeed an incredible concept. Try that. Try that before you go into meditation. Try this first for a few days. Impurities constantly arise within us. All we need to do in this type of dhyan is to observe them. Just be an observer. As if you are sitting in a bench waiting for the plane to catch, and you see all the people around you. Nobody is related to you. So what happens? You don't form any kind of attachment to anybody or no aversion to anybody. You are merely an observer. Have you experienced that? Same thing you experience by being an observer in your own life, no matter what. In your own family, in your friends, just be an observer. Don't have any opinion, because nobody asks for your opinion. Nobody cares for your opinion. Your opinion is worthless. Remember that. Only the opinion of the Paramatma matters, or the Guru matters. Our opinion doesn't matter at all. Not for our own family. You must have experienced that. You must have seen that. You must have known that. Does anybody ask you what do you think about certain things or not? Nobody cares. So why should you care for your own opinion? Forget it. But what has been the state of affairs thus far? When a past karma leading to anger materializes, we usually get engrossed in this rage-filled feeling. This dhyan teaches us to merely observe the rising anger. and not get engrossed in it. When can this happen? This is possible only when this perspective is firmly clear that anger is just the visual and you are the viewer or observer. When you invite that anger into you, that means you become angry, then it affects you. But if you do not invite that feeling into you, the anger passes, doesn't do anything to you or for you. Okay, so if anger is the visual and you are the observer seeing it, can the visual and the observer ever be one, be united? When I see the table in front of me, the table is the visual and I am the observer, but the visual and the observer remain distinct. Remember that. I will not become one with the table, will I? Same way, anger. When you observe something, it you cannot be one with it. If I observe this thing, if I just see this thing and watch this thing, I and this cannot be one. Similarly, when anger arises within, anger is the visual and you are the observer. So, how can you become one with it? Until now, you have been the doer of anger. Now, you should be the observer. One principle, major principle you understand and accept in your life, you are not the doer of anything and everything, none whatsoever. You are merely an observer, watcher. The visual is separate, the observer is separate. If you have accumulated the karma giving rise to anger, then it is bound to come to fruition at some point in time. At that time, you should not get engrossed in that feeling of anger. You should merely observe that state. For example, when the discomfort or pain causing ashata vediniya karma comes into fruition, an aware seeker, the seeker who has awareness, will not become one with the pain, as that will attract more karma. Thoughts such as, oh, I'm in pain, I can't bear it, oh, who hit me like this? May he rot in hell, will only attract new karma. But being an observer instead will result in shedding of karma. This pain has arisen due to my accumulated karma coming to fruition. I have to witness it with equanimity. So you develop equanimity and you are becoming an observer. Rahata vikara sarupa nihari, taki sangata manasadhari. Nijiguna anshallahe jabakoi. You observe the impurities arising within in the moments when the mind is engaged in the act of observing alone, you are a witness. Sakshi Bhav. You merely observe. The previously cited verse from scripture, Adhyatma Upanishad, corroborates the same thing. Drashtura dragtamat muktir, dragmatat, dragratmata muktir, drastek atmya bhava brahmanam. If the observer remains merely in the state of observation, then it becomes his liberation, the path thereto. On the other hand, if the observer allows his consciousness to become one with the visual and thereby becomes engrossed in attachment or aversion, then it is his sansar or the path towards continuing cycle of birth and death. The peculiarity of this dhyan is that it uplifts the seeker from the current position without mandating any kind of spiritual maturity. The elementary seeker gets angry at the slightest provocation, relishes tasty food, feels a rush of pride within when praised. Wow. This itself becomes the starting point of this dhyan. Observe the anger rising within. Observe, 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 merely observe. What will happen eventually is that only the act of observation will remain while anger, attachment, ego, and other impurities will disappear. What an incredible spiritual practice. Narrate?
Yes.
Now, Sutra number 9. Padastha Dhyan. तीर्थंकर पदवी पर धान गुण अनंत को मानो स्थान गुण विचार निज गुण जे लहे ध्यान पदस्थ सो गुरु इम कहे. Sadguru here comes us to tell us the position of Tirthankar is the highest position. It is a repository of infinite virtues. When these virtues are reflected in the heart of a seeker, he is said to be in the flow of Padastha Dhyan. अहनिशी ध्यान अभ्यास थी मन स्थिरता जो होए तो अनुभव लव आज फून पावे विरला कोई. Through persistent practice of dhyan, if the mind can become still, then even today, a few rare people can attain a partial experience of the self. Now comes the Padastha Dhyan. In the journey of our past lives, we have been to the Tirthankars Samavasaran, sometimes out of curiosity, but sometimes inspired by devotion. Those moments of devotion afforded us a chance to relish the beauty of the Tirthankar. His beauty, embellished with unparalleled tranquility, was mesmerizing. same feeling you should feel when you go to temple. Those moments reminded us of the words of Mahapadya Shivaji. कोटि देव मिलके कर ना सके एक अंगुष्ठ रूप प्रतिछंद ऐसो अद्भुत रूप तिहारो वरसत मानु अमृत को बुंद. Even if crores of celestial beings came together to recreate the beauty of the Tirthankar, they would still be unable to conjure anything that came close to the beauty of even his toe. Because the Tirthankar's beauty was unprecedented, we were captivated by it. We couldn't but take our eyes off him. અજીત જીન સ્થાન છે મહોપદે માનવીજી મહારાજ સાહેબ. લોચન શાંત સુધારસ સુભગા મુખ મટકાળુ પ્રસન્ન યોગ મુદ્રાનો લટકો ચટકો અતિશય તો અતિહના અતિધન્ના. How are the Tirthankar's eyes described? Lochana Santa Sudharasa Subhaga. Eyes filled with peaceful divine nectar, setting sight on which our own eyes become filled with peace. Mahapadya Shivaji has further expanded on these moments. Tere nayan ki mere nayan mein jas kahe diyo chhabi avatari. This means, O Tirthankar, kindly bestow upon my eyes a fraction of the Prasanta Vahita that pervades your eyes. Mukha Matakalu Prasanna. The Tirthankar's face is overflowing with bliss, as though his face is the storehouse of all the bliss existing in this world. Yoga Mudra no Latuko Chatuko, the yogic state of the Tirthankar amidst all grandeur, is magnificently expressed in this verse. Trigade Sinhasana, Trigade Ratana Sinhasana Besi, Chihu Disi Chamar Dhadave Re, Arihant Pad Prabhutano Bhogi, Topar Jogi Kahave Re. Chamar Dhadave Re, sorry. Seated in the Samarvasan, the Tirthankar is surrounded by unparalleled grandeur. Chamar are being fanned above him, and divine musical instruments are playing unmatched melodies. But the Tirthankar is completely detached from this external appearance and is deep in the Udasin state. For us, the external grandeur and opulence have relevance, but for the Tirthankar, there is only resolute and unwavering Udasin Bhav. That extraordinary Udasin state astonished us and made us speechless, and those moments of being astonished were soon transformed into moments of devotion. Oh, he is my beloved Lord. He radiates such profound Udasin Bhav. Not only are his external grandeur and opulent unprecedented, his Udasin state too is profound and beyond comparison. Can you even imagine that? The magnitude of this external grandeur is captured in the lines below. Kodi game ubha darbare, Jaya Mangal sur bole re, Tran bhuvanani riddhi tuj age, dise ima truna tole re. Crores of celestial beings are paying obeisance to the Tirthankar and singing his praises. Such is his external grandeur that adding up all the existing opulence and splendor of the three worlds would still look like a shriveled blade of grass in comparison. What a comparison. But nothing comes close to his inner grandeur, the ultimate Udasin state, which shines alongside this external grandeur. We continue to remain seated in the Samavasan and continue to gaze at the Tirthankar's Udasin state and forget about our own self. For a moment, this enabled us to experience flashes of Udasin Bhav within us, and words read during scriptural studies surfaced in the mind. All the attributes that you see evidently in the Tirthankar exist within you. However, they are concealed by the karma. Shade the karma and you shine. Our gaze shifted back to the Tirthankar's Udasin state. Those moments reminded us of the words of Acharya Hemchandra Suriji. Pannage cha surendre cha kaushike pada samsprashe nirvishesha manaskaya Sri Veer Swamine Namaha. Whether it was a serpent named Kaushik venomously biting Bhagavan Mahavir's feet, or the king of celestial being Kaushik Indra worshipping his feet. For the Lord, both these incidents were identical. There was no difference whatsoever. That's the meaning of that. Such incidents keep happening in the outer world but have no impact on him, for the Lord remains in the inner world, established in himself, in the self. Seeing this, our focus shifted to the inner splendor of the Tirthankar. Our liking for the Tirthankar's Udasin state increased to the extent that we started seeking it for ourselves. O Lord, even if it is only a partial glimpse, Please bless me with this state. You blessed Devchandraji by giving him a partial but exalted experience of Udasin Bhava. And then describes the Devchandri Maharaj's incidents. You can read that. O Tirthankar, please give us at least a partial experience of this Udasin state. In those divine moments of being in the Samarsan, the aforementioned thoughts sprang forth a few times. Otherwise, we just continue to relish the Tirthankar's Udasin state, and the eyes kept getting moist with devotion. My beloved Tirthankar ought to be like this. What a staggering confluence of inner and outer majesty. And this is the Padastha Dhyan. To relish those moments of being in the Samarshan and to flow in those moments is Padastha Dhyan. Chidananji describes Padastha Dhyan in these words. Tirthankar padavi paradhan, guna anant ko mano sthan, guna vichar nij guna je lahe, Dhyana padastha so guru imakahe. The Tirthankar seated in Samarshan is bestowed with infinite virtues, reflecting on those virtues. A feeling envelops that the same virtues exist within me as well. When these virtues are partially experienced, it is Padastha Dhyan. Then we have Madhuradipatir Kilam Madhuram. Everything about the Tirthankar is sweet, for he is the very source of sweetness. And then we have another Devchandri Maharaj verse. Dito Subhiti Jinand Samadhi Rase Bharyo Holal, Bhasyo Atmaswarup, Anadi no Visaryo Holal, Sakala Vibhava Upadhi Thaki Man Osaryo Holal, Satta Sadhana Marga Bani E Sancharyo Holal. This verse captures and brings alive the very definition of Padastha Dhyan. Observing the Samadhi ras flowing on his face and oozing out every inch of his body, reminding us of the Samadhi ras lying within us. And with that recollection, all mental agitation and discomposure vanished. And this triggered the journey towards the attainment of the Samadhi ras, which is in ourselves. And that is the Udasin state, Samadhi state. We also see the supreme bliss on his face and this moment. Following words of the Lord ring in our ears. O soul, you too are full of bliss. It is not your true nature to sway to the tunes of likes and dislikes. Bliss is your essential nature. And then a partial experience of this blissful state of Tirthankar descends upon us. Padastha Dhyan, indeed, a beautiful type of Dhyan. Then you can read all these things. Then we come to the Sutra 10. भेद ज्ञान अंतर्गत धारे स्वपर परिणति भिन्न विचारे शक्ति विचारे शांतता पावे ते पिंडस्थ ध्यान कहावे. A seeker firmly establishes in the mind the understanding born out of experience that I am distinct from the body and all other externals. He contemplates on the contrasting behaviors of the self and the external, blissful state in the behavior of the self, while swinging between likes and dislikes is the behavior of the external. His further contemplates on the inner strength of the soul, and using this strength to go towards the self, attains peace and bliss. This is Pindastha Dhyan. In other words, Pindastha Dhyan is experiential realization of the luminous soul inhabiting in the pinned body. And then a flame burns intensely in the mound of sand like transient body. This flame is the analogy for the soul. In its radiant glow, darkness of the delusionary belief that I am the body is displaced. This enables reveling in the luminous glow of the soul. This unravels the mystery of our real home, the inner home, the soul. घर में घर दिखलाई दे वो सदगुरु हमारा. This is the body that we think that is our home. There is another home inside this home. Wo, that is shown by our Guru. So we bow down to our Guru. जस कहे साहिब मुक्ति नु करियु तिलक निज हाथे. As the enlightened master presses his thumb against an aspirant's Agna Chakra, the aspirant's journey towards liberation begins. This is what the profound expression above alludes to. The idea of the Tirthankar working his way through an enlightened master has been captured here. So now, Chidananji Maharaj Namavi, Veda Gnana Antargardhare. The knowledge that the soul is distinct from the body is necessary, but this distinction merely in words is not sufficient. It has to be here heartfelt and full of conviction. You have to believe in it. You see, the understanding that the soul and the body are distinct needs to be taken deep at the level of unconscious mind, where the belief that I am the body is firmly entrenched. Otherwise, the understanding that the soul and the body are different will become a mere exercise in words, and the belief that I am the body will remain as is. So, what can be done to achieve this? The answer lies in the second part of the verse. Swapar parinati bhinna vichare. I am not the body. I am the all-knowing, Shuddha, pure entity, Atma. You see, in the surface, which is a conscious level, you believe that because you have been told that you are not the body. But at your existence level, you believe differently. So all these sermons, all these things, all these thoughts has to go at the existence level, which is from conscious to subconscious, from unconscious to existence level. So that's a you. The seeker enters deep into the world of the self through these three steps: Antarmukha Dasha, Antarpravesh, and Antarleen. Now, I'll give you a little bit short summary on this, since we have very limited time. When you are doing reading or when you're doing Swadhyay, when you're listening to all these things, you should pay attention to what is being said and try to make it so that it enters you. So you go inside. That is Swadhyaya. Swa, the I, means you are going, you're in within you. And then when you go into the Dhyana Dasha, it is you are entering into you. And when you go to the innermost yourself, which is called Kayotsarga, it is Antarlina Dasha, which means your upyog is now one with yourself, the real self. First, your upyog becomes antarmukh, which means the direction is now different. Direction is changed from bahirmukh, from outside to inner. Then you enter inner inside, and then you become one with yourself. That's called antarleen dasha. Those are three steps you have to go through, and that is called the um, ultimate result of dhyan dasha. Dhyan is the intermediary, the middle dasha, middle state. Swadhyay is the first stage. What we are now right now doing is Swadhyay. That's the first stage. And then we internalize, go inside, you enter those words that we are listening, you enter into yourself. And then when those words remains no more words, but becomes one with yourself, that's called antarleen dasha. The belief that the external is mine is bahirmukh dasha. All our lives we have lived like that, bahirmukh dasha. Everything outside happening, affecting us. Now, on the contrary, the belief that the inner world of the self is mine is antarmukh dasha. That you learn from Swadhyaya. Seeing enlightened people or spending few moments with them or observing their inner grandeur inspires one to go in that direction. Here, the seeker develops a keen interest for the self. And then, antapravesh. Entry into the inner world of the self is antapravesh. A seeker enters the world of equanimity as the enlightened master utters and gives him the Karimibante Sutra. This has the effect of empowering the seeker to start flowing in the state of equanimity. Now you are entering in. And then Antarleen Dasa. Mahaprabhu Asavajiji has provided a very profound description of Antarleen Dasa in the scripture. Pancha Vinshika. Pancha Vinsatika. Antarleen Dasa has been recognized as Jivan Mukta Dasa in this scripture and has been expressed as follows. Jagratyatmani te nityam bahir bhavesu serate udasate par dravye liyante swagunamurte. Being in constant awareness of the self, being inert, asleep, when engaging with the external, maintaining an udasin state towards everything external, and thereby submerging the consciousness into the attributes of the self, that is called Antarleen Dasa. This verse outlines 4 steps that are the cornerstones of Antarleen Dasa. First step, Jagratyatmani te nityam. My true form is unaffected by karma, attachments, or aversions. I am the pure existence, flowing in the stream of unabated consciousness. This is how a seeker should attempt to maintain constant awareness of the self. This is one. Jagratyatmaniti nityam. Every single moment you are aware of yourself. Jagrat means awareness. Asti svabhavati apanore, ruchi vairagya samet, prabhu sanmukh vandan karire, mangis atamahet. Prabhupada say, what you want to ask for? What you're asking from Prabhu? You only ask them, let me have my own self existence, my own existence, my own being. Existence means being is my true nature. I will ask the Tirthankar for my true nature. There are two ways to attain the true nature: keen interest and detachment. I will also ask Tirthankar to grant me those two things. Keen interest, an intense desire to attain the true nature. Unless you have a keen desire and only that to attain the true nature of yourself, you will never ever be able to achieve the result of dhyan. And the second thing, detachment, a sense of dispassion towards everything external. These are the two causes. Attainment of the true nature is the result. Second step, bahirbhaveshu serate, chhod do. Inertness when engaging in the external. The seeker will have no interest in anything that opens towards the external, such as the body or other things. The seeker's stance will be just leave all of this aside. Instead, let's listen to the journey of an enlightened person. Hmm? No interest in anything else. And the third step, upasate, udasate paradravya, while remaining inert when engaging with the external and while remaining detached in the motions of worldly life. What should be the approach towards the external substances? The body will need externals such as food or clothes to survive. A seeker would maintain udasin bhav when the use of the external is imperative. While utilizing external things, the seeker should maintain caution to ensure that feeling of like or dislike do not arise within. Fourth step, liyante swagunamrute. Now you are in your own self. To be immersed in the flow of the attributes of the self, swaguna, our own attributes. This is antarlin dasa. Now you are completely established in your own self. That's the fruition of dhyan, the result of dhyan. The journey from antarmukh dasa to antarlin dasa establishes a seeker in the magnificent world of the self. Shakti vichar is shantata bhave. That one can attain antarlin dasa and that one can be established in the world of the self is a revelation worth celebrating for a seeker. So, te padastha dhyan kahave, thus experiential realization of the luminous. You have to experience your own self. Inhabiting in the pind in the body is pindastha dhyan. And then the last one is Rupati Dhyan, which I think we have hardly any time for that. So maybe you can read that. If you have any questions, just let us know and we will take care of that. रूप रेखा जामे नवि कोई अष्ट गुण करी शिव पद सोई ताको ध्यावत तिहा समावे रूपातीत ध्यान सो पावे. So I think we leave this thing and Barabar? Is it okay?
Yes, Haji.
Anyway, we have tried our best to exponent. I mean, try to explain whatever is Gurudev has described in this book of Dhyan, Journey Within. And if I have not been able to do any justice to it, or if I have said anything which is against the commandments of the Tirthankar, I seek forgiveness. I'm going to do Then Antamangal, Sarvamangal Mangalam Sarvakalyan Karanam, Pradhanam Sarvadharmanam Jainam Jayati Sasanam, Sadhguru Deva Ki Jai, Mahavir Swami Bhagwan Ki Jai. Jai Jinendra.
ત્રણ નવકાર ભણી લેજો શ્રુત સામાયિક માટેના અને ગિરીશભાઈ તમને અનુકૂળ હોય તો બધાને મળવાનો ચાન્સ આપીએ.
ભલે.
ઓકે, જેને ઉતાવળ હોય બધા પહેલા તો બધા મ્યુટ રહેજો. ડુ નોટ અનમ્યુટ યોરસેલ્ફ until your name is called. અને જેને ઉતાવળ હોય પહેલા હાથ ઊંચો કરો એટલે આપણે એનું પહેલા કરી લઈએ. જેને ચોવિયારની તકલીફ થવાની હોય, કાંઈ દૂરથી હોય કે કાંઈ જે પણ હોય પહેલા હાથ ઊંચા કરજો. અને મહેશભાઈ?
દિનાબેન?
જય જિનેન્દ્ર ગિરીશભાઈ.
So let me take off the spotlight. Okay, ફરીથી બેન.
હા, જય જિનેન્દ્ર ગિરીશભાઈ. પાય લાગુ છું.
જય જિનેન્દ્ર, જય જિનેન્દ્ર.
ખૂબ ખૂબ અનુમોદના. ખૂબ ફરીને જાણવા મળ્યું અને ફરીને પ્રેક્ટિસ કરશું હવે. થેન્ક યુ સો મચ. થેન્ક યુ.
તરુબેન?
હા જી, જય જિનેન્દ્ર. પ્રણામ ગિરીશભાઈ.
જય જિનેન્દ્ર બેન.
અધ્યાય થયો અને હવે બસ આ ધ્યાનમાં વધારે પ્રગતિ થાય એવા આશીર્વાદ આપો.
જરૂર પ્રેક્ટિસ કરશો થઈ જશે.
હા, ચોક્કસ કરવાની છું. થેન્ક યુ.
It only takes 30 minutes or 40 minutes maximum.
Yeah, I will.
સાધનાબેન શેઠ?
જય જિનેન્દ્ર ગિરીશભાઈ.
જય જિનેન્દ્ર.
તમારે લીધે જીવનમાં અવેરનેસ વધતી જાય છે, એ સાધના વધારે સારી થાય છે, એના માટે ખૂબ કૃતજ્ઞ છું.
વેલકમ.
રાગિણીબેન નટુભાઈ?
રંજન કોઈ રાગિણી લખ્યું છે. જય જિનેન્દ્ર ગિરીશભાઈ, હું નોર્થ કેલિફોર્નિયાથી બોલું છું. આપનો ખૂબ ખૂબ આભાર અને આપ અમને એવા આશીર્વાદ આપો કે આપ જે આ ધ્યાન અમને જીનવાણી અમને સરસ પીરસી છે એમાં અમે આગળ ને આગળ વધીએ. બસ તમારા આશીર્વાદ જ જોઈએ છે.
પ્રભુ કૃપાથી થશે બધું.
ખૂબ ખૂબ આભાર. ખૂબ ખૂબ અનુમોદના.
જી.
કલ્પનાબેન?
જય જિનેન્દ્ર કલ્પના.
ગિરીશભાઈ શાતામાં.
હા, બસ દેવગુરુ પાસે બરોબર.
જય જિનેન્દ્ર. થેન્ક યુ. જય જિનેન્દ્ર.
ઈલાબેન?
જય જિનેન્દ્ર ગિરીશભાઈ, પગે લાગુ છું.
હા, જય જિનેન્દ્ર ઈલા. જય જિનેન્દ્ર.
ખૂબ ખૂબ અનુમોદના. આશીર્વાદ માંગુ છું કે અમે આગળ વધી શકીએ આમાં.
જરૂર પ્રેક્ટિસ કરજો.
જરૂરથી. થેન્ક યુ.
રાકેશભાઈ?
જય જિનેન્દ્ર રાકેશ.
રાકેશભાઈ અનમ્યુટ કરવું પડશે તમારે.
સોરી, માય બેડ. જય જિનેન્દ્ર, ચરણ સ્પર્શ કરું છું. શાતામાં છો?
બસ દેવગુરુ પાસે બરોબર.
2 days of 4+ hours each is a lot.
પ્રભુ કૃપાથી થાય, આપણે ક્યાં કરીએ છીએ?
ના છતાં તો પણ સાથે રાખજો.
ગુરુદેવ.
શાંતિભાઈ રાજુલબેન?
જય જિનેન્દ્ર શાંતિભાઈ.
જય જિનેન્દ્ર ગિરીશભાઈ.
જય જિનેન્દ્ર રાજુ. જય જિનેન્દ્ર. શાતામાં રહેજો ભાઈ.
થેન્ક યુ.
શાતામાં રહેજો.
હાજી.
રાહુલભાઈ?
જય જિનેન્દ્ર રાહુલભાઈ.
કેમ છો? Doing well.
હાજી.
And thank you so much for doing this firstly in English.
You're welcome.
It was a gift that came to me, and I had an opportunity to grasp. And thank you once again, because for me, the communication in Gujarati or Hindi would have been a very poor thing. So I was being able to relate and connect with you so much more because of English part of the seminar.
Yeah.
I thank you so much for it. And if there are any other few questions in the future, which I probably have.
Let me know. And read the book again, and also listen to whatever we have done here. So I think it will be probably more clearer to you.
Yes, definitely. It will take a lot more of reading and researching and doing practical to experience what you said or is said in the book, and then make that your own knowledge.
Correct. It requires practice, basically. The more you practice, the more achievement you will derive from that.
Sure. Yeah, but continue. I would request our organizers yourself to continue to do things like this in English. I'm sure we did not have much participation from English-speaking people like myself, but I'm sure once the word goes around, and I would be one of the ambassadors to spread that word, we will try and get more people to take advantage of these kind of seminars.
Definitely. No, you're
So
right.
please do not let this not continue because of that lack of participation.
No. We never decide on that how many people are participating. We just decide on the basis of the value that it gives. Yes.
Again, thank you once for this.
Thank you.
Dakshaben?
Hi, Girishbhai.
દક્ષાબેન
પ્રણામ.
જય જિનેન્દ્ર પ્રણામ.
જય જિનેન્દ્ર. આજે તમે મને બહુ સારી રીતે, આજે હું બહુ અનસ્ટેબલ છું. આજે સવારે જ મારા જેઠ મરી ગયા છે શિકાગો. આજે સવારે ન્યૂઝ આવેલા ને મારા જેઠ મરી ગયા છે, પણ તોય પણ મારે સ્વાધ્યાય છોડવો નહોતો. આજે બહુ જ અનસ્ટેબલ છું. પણ આ ધર્મને કારણે આપણે સ્ટેબલ થઈ શકીએ.
I'm so sorry to hear that.
ઘણું ઘણું પચાવવાનું છે અને ઘણું ઘણું આગળ વધારવાનું છે. પણ ખૂબ ખૂબ આભાર. અને ખરેખર ભગવાનની વાણી. મને ગુજરાતી પેલી બુક જે મળી શકશે, જે પણ પ્રાઇસ હશે, આઈ બી એબલ ટુ પે ઇટ.
ધ્યાનની ને
અંતરયાત્રા ગુજરાતીમાં છે ને,
એ હવે
આગળની શિબિરની.
એ પ્રદીપભાઈ
આપણે PDF મોકલી શકશું. આપણે બધા હાર્ડ કોપી નથી.
I do have few hard copies. If anybody wants, we can Pradeep, you can reach out to Pradeep. He can let me know.
Oh, sure. Okay. Thanks for the offer.
Yeah, I will pay whatever it costs. I don't have problem with that. પણ ખૂબ ખૂબ આભાર પ્રદીપભાઈ તમારો. ખૂબ ખૂબ આભાર.
મને શિપિંગ એડ્રેસ મોકલશો તમારું?
શ્યોર. મારી પાસે તમારો જે મેં તમને મેસેજ છે ને,
ત્યાં મૂકી દેજો.
હા, નહીં તો અત્યારે આપી દઉં તો બી વાંધો નથી.
અત્યારે લાંબી લાઈન છે અહીંયા. લખીને પછી ભૂલ ન થાય એમાં.
ના વાંધો નહીં. હા, થેન્ક યુ ગિરીશભાઈ. અને ફરી વાર મળશું એવી આશા રાખું છું.
પ્રદીપભાઈ, મારી પાસે એમનું એડ્રેસ છે.
ઓકે, બહુ સરસ.
થેન્ક યુ.
મહેશભાઈ, ગિરીશ કોઠારીને લઈ લેજો.
ગિરીશભાઈ કોઠારી.
જય જિનેન્દ્ર ગિરીશભાઈ.
જય જિનેન્દ્ર ગિરીશભાઈ.
તમારે બધું જ્ઞાન પીરસ્યું તે અમારે પચાવવાનું છે. પર થેન્ક યુ ફોર એવરીથિંગ. જય જિનેન્દ્ર.
તમે ક્યાંથી બોલો છો?
મારા મોટા ભાઈ છે પિટ્સબર્ગથી. પિટ્સબર્ગથી મારા મોટા ભાઈ.
હા, બરોબર. પિટ્સબર્ગમાં મળ્યા હતા બનતા સુધી ને?
હાજી.
હા, બરોબર. રાઈટ. ભાઈ સાથેમાં રહેજો.
પ્રીતિબેન.
હું બહુ બિગિનર છું હજુ, એટલે ઘણું બધું હજુ મારે. હા સાહેબ, જય જિનેન્દ્ર. હું થોડી બિગિનર છું, એટલે મને થોડુંક હજુ ડિફિકલ્ટ પડે છે, પણ હું પૂરી કોશિશમાં છું.
ના, તમે બીજા જે પહેલાના જે બધા અમુક છે ને, એ થોડોક સાંભળી લેજો.
ઓકે.
ખાસ કરીને નવતત્વ અને બધા ઘણા બધા છે, તો ઘણું બધું ક્લિયર થશે.
આ બધું યુટ્યુબમાં છે સાહેબ?
તમને તમારું એડ્રેસ મોકલજો મને, અથવા તો તમને મેઇલ કરી દઈશું.
હું આમાં વોટ્સએપ ગ્રુપમાં મૂકી દઉં છું મારું એડ્રેસ.
હા, તમારું મૂકી દેજો એડ્રેસ.
ઓકે,
મેઇલ કરી દેશે એની.
ઓલરાઈટ. થેન્ક યુ ગિરીશભાઈ. આઈ રિયલી એપ્રિશિએટ.
વેલકમ.
અને આઈ હોપ કે તમારા લોકોના બધાના ગ્રુપમાં રહીને થોડું ઘણું શીખવા મળશે મને. જે બી થેન્ક યુ. બહુ અનુમોદના.
થેન્ક યુ.
નિલેશભાઈ.
જય જિનેન્દ્ર ગિરીશભાઈ.
જય જીનેન્દ્રભાઈ, તારો પ્રશ્ન રહી ગયો.
It's okay. હું
પછી આપણે
Google
વાત
ફોર્મ
કરીશું.
માં આપ્યું હતું, but it's fine.
પછી
હું
પછી
સર્ચ
વાત
કરી દઉં.
કરીશું. Yes.
હા.
He's the only one with the question.
ના, બીજો
Yeah.
હતો મીનાનો, પણ મીના પછી આવી ખબર નહીં આવી છે કે નહીં.
Right. First of all, even I am a beginner, and thank you so much for getting the time for this really a wonderful thing,
No problem.
which will really help us to focus on anything.
Yes, yes, yes.
So
Are you here in LA?
yeah, I'm in San Diego.
Huh?
San Diego. It's
Oh, San
2 hour
Diego.
drive. Yeah.
Nilesh, yeah, okay.
Yeah. And just to share it, like share my experience, I practiced this meditation in the morning. This was the first time in my life, and I was just surprised at how that 30 minutes just passed by.
Yes.
And the second thing was, like, I was shocked that so many thoughts were going in my mind, which I wanted to push out, but still I couldn't. So yeah, it would really need a lot of practice. But thank
Lot
you
of
for
practice,
all the motivations and the roadmap that you have put on us, and it's up to us that we have to go ahead on that.
Correct.
Thank you very much, sir. And
Sure.
please
Welcome.
let me know in for the anything that this kind of program happens, just keep us updated so that I would be privileged to attend it.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Thank you very much, sir.
Sure.
અસ્મિતાબેન પરીખ. હર્ષાબેન ખોજા.
જય જીનેન્દ્ર હર્ષાબેન.
જય જીનેન્દ્ર, પ્રણામ ગિરીશભાઈ, વંદન કરું છું. તબિયત સાચવજો.
જી.
ખૂબ ખૂબ આભાર તમારો.
બરોબર છો આપ?
જી એકદમ, તમારી કૃપા છે.
આવી ગયા ઘરે કે હજી?
ના, ઘરે જ છે, ઘરે છીએ.
અચ્છા.
અઠવાડિયું થઈ ગયું.
અચ્છા.
થેન્ક યુ.
સરસ સરસ.
ટેક કેર. ઓકે.
થેન્ક યુ.
વિરેન્દ્રભાઈ ઉર્વશીબેન.
જય જિનેન્દ્ર ગિરીશભાઈ, પગે લાગ.
હા, જય જીનેન્દ્ર વિરેન્દ્રભાઈ.
આપ બરાબર છો ગિરીશભાઈ?
બરાબર છે.
તબિયત સારી?
હા હા, તમે બરોબર છો ને?
હા, એકદમ.
રમેશભાઈ.
જય જીનેન્દ્ર ગિરીશભાઈ.
જય જીનેન્દ્ર રમેશભાઈ.
પ્રણામ.
હા, પ્રણામ.
સાતામાં રહેજો.
હાજી, તમે પણ.
ધર્મેશભાઈ.
જય જીનેન્દ્ર ગિરીશભાઈ, હું ધર્મેશ છું.
જય જીનેન્દ્ર રમેશ.
I really got a good opportunity પહેલી વાર, એટલે I'm always there at the JC Center. I go for Jain study group. આ વખતે મને પ્રદીપભાઈની email જોઈ તો I was able to attend the sessions. It was very informative અને પુરુષાર્થનો આશીર્વાદ આપો.
જરૂર જરૂર.
Thank you.
પ્રભુ કૃપાથી થશે જરૂર.
ઉર્મિલાબેન.
I don't think Urmilaben will be able to unmute or નહીં આવી શકે, વિડીયો નથી અમને.
પ્રદીપભાઈ. અનામિસ.
પ્રદીપભાઈ, જય જીનેન્દ્ર.
Yes, જય જીનેન્દ્ર ગિરીશભાઈ.
જય જીનેન્દ્ર.
ઘણો ઘણો આભાર, બહુ સરસ. આમાં જે ગુપ્તીનો જે છે એનો ઘણો અભ્યાસ કરવાની જરૂર લાગે છે, કારણ કે એ શુભમાંથી શુદ્ધમાં લઈ જઈ શકે છે.
કરેક્ટ.
એટલે it become my target.
Yes. Yeah.
જય જીનેન્દ્ર ગિરીશભાઈ.
હા, મહેશભાઈ, થેન્ક યુ. જય જીનેન્દ્ર.
જય જીનેન્દ્ર.
ઉભા રહેજો બેન, ઉભા રહેજો દીપકભાઈ.
Meanwhile, Girishbhai, તમે ક્યાં રહો છો?
યોરબલિન્ડા.
ક્યાં? સોરી.
યોરબલિન્ડા.
ઓકે.
અહીંયા સદર્ન કેલિફોર્નિયા.
કેલિફોર્નિયા.
પ્રદીપભાઈ, તમે મ્યુટ છો.
I was also handling a call from one of the participants who couldn't speak over there, so they called me. Okay, I'm back. હવે શું મહેશભાઈ?
ગિરીશભાઈ બધા જ આવી ગયા.
આવી ગયા ને? ઓકે.
યસ સર.
ભલે ભલે. All right.
ગિરીશભાઈ બધાને વિનંતી છે કે જેમ નિલેશ આજે પહેલી વાર આવ્યો છે મતલબ શિબિરમાં we have a lot of books and video આપણા સેન્ટરમાં ને આપણા પાસે so if anybody needs any જે પ્રદીપભાઈને WhatsApp ગ્રુપમાં કરશે તો ન થતો નહીં કે બીજી બધી વિડીયો કે આપણે સીડી કે કાંઈ બી મોકલાવી શકાશે if people through the WhatsApp group if they can send that stuff previous Shibirs particularly in Gujarati, it looks like you are very comfortable in Gujarati. So, ઢગલા બંધ આપણા પાસે CD, DVD, video બધી જાતને સાધનો છે books સાથે. You could ask them, Pradeep Bhai, and we can manage it to send it to you.
Of course, yeah. Thank you so much for that information. And
They're also all available on YouTube also.
Sure. And if you have any English PDF, it will be like helpful for me so that English વાંચ્યા પછી ગુજરાતી વાંચ્યું તો like I feel more comfortable.
Well, are you familiar with Jain e-library?
No, I can go to Jain library.
We will communicate.
Sure, yeah, thank you.
There are thousands of them.
All right, great. Thank you.
ને નિલેશભાઈ ગુજરાતી તો સમજે છે ને તું?
હા, ગુજરાતી સમજે છે. મને actually
યુટ્યુબમાં ગિરીશભાઈના લેક્ચર બધા ઘણા બધા ગુજરાતીમાં છે.
Okay.
અને એમાં મોટાભાગના બધા લેક્ચરમાં એટલું શાંતિથી સરસ ધીમેથી સમજાવેલું છે તો બુકનો રેફરન્સ હોય તો સારું પડે પણ ના હોય તો પણ ઘણી બધી નોલેજ મળશે એનો.
Sure. Okay.
One more thing to Nilesh Bhai and anybody else કે Girishbhai na Monday, Thursday, Saturday and Sunday 4 દિવસ હોય છે. If you join it you will definitely will benefit out of it.
Of course. Is there any email or group, WhatsApp group?
Yes.
Okay, yeah. I'll talk to Pradeep Bhai.
Yeah, I know you now.
Okay.
I have your number.
Sure, yeah, thank you so much.
You will not escape.
No, I would be privileged to attend all those things.
All right.
And special round of applause for you organizer like you and Mahesh Bhai to organize everything. So patiently waiting for all these things. Thank you.
You're welcome. How old are you?
I'm 32, sir.
Okay, young man.
But I keep watching this kind of spiritual because I don't know what attracts me, but I just watch.
You brought it from previous life, my friend.
Oh, maybe, yeah. So-called karma. Thank you so much.
ચાલો જય જીનેન્દ્ર બધાને અને
જય જીનેન્દ્ર
મળીએ.
જય જીનેન્દ્ર પ્રણામ સર્વેને.
જય જીનેન્દ્ર.
I think Girishbhai left, Maheshbhai.
પ્રદીપભાઈ તમારે પેલા શું કહેવાય પ્રીતિબેનનું નામ એડ કરવું પડશે બધા સ્વાધ્યાય માટે બ્રોડકાસ્ટ ગ્રુપ
અચ્છા મને મારા WhatsApp મૂકી દે ને યાર.
હું તો I'll put it on WhatsApp. Okay, that's fine.
Okay. I'm going to shut the recording and shut the YouTube, right?